Hello and welcome to Discover the Hidden Possibilities with AR, which stands for Augmented Reality. I'm really glad to have you join me today. We're going to take a look at a bunch of different ways that you can integrate augmented reality into your curriculum, into your classroom, K-12 and beyond. The link to today's presentation is found there at the bottom. It's bit.ly/Discover AR21, and those are all lowercase letters, and it will also be posted in the chat. My name is Christine Danhoff, and I'm the Technology Integration Specialist at Genoa Area Local Schools in Genoa, Ohio. My Twitter handle is there if you'd like to reach out. I love to connect with other educators and answer questions and collaborate and see what you're doing. You can also email me or access my website for any other ideas that are there. So let's get started today.
Yes, did. Augmented reality.
We're going to dive into augmented reality in the classroom. There's a lot of different things there, and my goal always for educators during any kind of presentation I do is to take away one new thing that you can try with your students in the classroom. So you're going to see a lot of different ideas and projects and things that you could incorporate, but find one that you think you could try the next day. I'm going to be sharing a ton of resources as well, so hopefully you can walk away and start right off with your students. So the first thing to think about, what do you need to get started to do this? So if you click on any of these pictures in the presentation deck, they are linked, so they will take you to some more information on there. So the first thing you're going to need is a device of some sort, either it be a phone or an iPad or whatever it is that is able to run the AR core activity. So you want to have a new enough device that it can run augmented reality. You're also going to find, though, that augmented reality is becoming more popular as web-based, and I'm going to share with you a resource that is a web-based augmented reality one. So for students that are using Chromebooks, they are still able to participate in these augmented reality type experiences using a Chromebook as well. Phones are another great option for the older kids that have their own phones. So go ahead and click on these links. That is going to take you to what is needed to run that and for you to be able to find out. Now for this presentation, you're going to notice that I'm using something called Reflector Teacher, and I use this quite a bit when I'm in the classroom too. So if you are virtual or you want to do a video kind of like this, or you're teaching in front of your students with one device only, Reflector Teacher is a great platform to use. It is only about $15 for the lifetime of it. And with Reflector Teacher, you're able to mirror your device to your computer so it can be seen either on the screen in a Zoom or in a Meet like this, or you can use it, of course, to project on your screen in the classroom for students to be able to see what augmented reality really is. So we're going to take a look. We're splitting this up into a couple different parts today. So I have exploring with augmented reality. We're going to take a look at the creation with augmented reality. And then I'm going to share with you some elementary type examples of things that you can use with the pre-K to 5 students. So diving right in with exploring. So these are all going to tie to curriculum content that you can utilize with your students that integrate with subjects and topics that you're already doing. So the first one is called Google Expeditions. And once again, these are all linked, so you can click on these to go to them. And you'll see over here on the right, a video is playing using Reflector Teacher. I've recorded that. So that way you can see exactly what is happening. So Google Expeditions is both a virtual reality expedition as well as an augmented reality expedition. So you'll see there that I'm running an augmented reality one. So we're looking at Chinese dynasties or the Revolutionary War. And if you want to guide your students, so that means that when you change your device, the students' devices are going to change. You're going to need those markers, and that's what's linked right here, and that's what you see on the screen. So when you print those out, doesn't matter if they're colored, doesn't matter what number they have, if you put that in front of them and they point it at the markers, here you're going to see that they're taking a look at different Revolutionary War artifacts. So there's a cannon that is there. And those are just giving the students a closer look, and they can get closer with their iPad or with their device. They can move around it, they can zoom in and zoom out, and it just brings that content to life for them. So that way they can really see and experience what those things were when they can't even leave the classroom. So it's a really awesome thing to be able to do. The list of expeditions spreadsheet looks like this. And you'll notice at the bottom there's 2 tabs, VR and AR. So I'm going to go to the AR one. And then the easiest way to do anything on here is do Control or Command F to search. And when you search, you're going to be able to find here that you can see anything that you're looking for. So let's say I'm looking for cells, and I'll find 16 results. So when I hit the down arrow, it's going to tell me that I can look at one about cell membrane functions. I can do one just about cells itself. So there's all kinds of different things that are here to give kids a closer look. Now be aware that these augmented reality expeditions do not run on a Chromebook. So these will need to have a device, an Android device, an iOS device, or a tablet of some sort in order for them to view them. Now when you switch over to VR, which I know is a total separate thing, they have something that's called a View on Web Polylink. And with that, you'll notice some of the expeditions are available that they can view on their Chromebooks. So very cool thing to be able to do. The only thing I will let you know, so if you want to use this with your students, download the app on your devices at school or your personal device before June 30th of this year, as it's going to be retiring and it will be removed from the App Store. You can still utilize it as long as you have it on your device. Now, the replacement is Google Arts and Culture. So with Google Arts and Culture, you're going to notice that they're going to transfer many of their expeditions over to that. And with that, you're going to see that there are a ton of immersive experiences that they're starting to already move over to that platform. And if you've not looked at Google Arts and Culture before, I'm going to share with you exactly what that looks like. So here's the augmented reality of Google Expeditions. And then here are some examples of what Google Arts and Culture looks like. So beyond just art and history, those tours that you saw coming up, there's some really awesome things you can do to put yourself in a self-portrait. You can change what objects and pictures look like in photographs, and you can even place art in your environment in augmented reality. So it's a really cool tool to use for all different subject areas. All right, moving on. One of my favorite, the Merge Cube. So the Merge Cube has been around now for a little while, but I always love to hear when people have not heard of this before, and it's always great for the kids to see holding something in their hand. You see all these like designs on it right now, and when you point your device at these, so again, an iOS or Android device or a tablet of some sort, you point it at this cube and you're going to see some things come to life.
In this experience, we look at the atmosphere and its different zones.
So over here,
the atmosphere
on the
far
left,
beyond the
you're
surface
going
of the
to
Earth,
see
and
that
some
the
scientists
Merge
even say it goes all
Explorer
the way to
app,
the
and I'm
moon.
just going to turn that down a little bit. The Merge Explorer app allows students to use their Merge Cube, and from there you can see over here we're looking at the water cycle. So this was something I actually did with our second graders because they were studying the water cycle, and they're able to tap the pink next button and they're seeing each step of the water cycle. So the cube disappears and you see this real life water cycle right in front of you. They thought it was so cool. And what's really great about it, after they're done with the activity, if they scroll down, there are separated out assessment questions that they can do. So K to 8, so K to 2, 3 to 5, and then 6 to 8 questions. So kids can go ahead and test their knowledge, and you can see how they do on it. You can also see that I was recording that, so students can record their thinking as they do that. So there I am, I'm placing it even and stamping it around the room, so you can stamp those in different places. So how do you get started? So first, click here to get a printable cube. You're going to see something that looks just like this. So you can print those out. I love these, the actual squishy ones, because they are more durable. But if you are virtual or not in person, or you just want the kids to have these, you can print this out. This is from the Merge site. Awesome group of people that support educators. And then from there, you're going to see that I have a ton of things linked here. So sample lessons that they have, ideas of what to do with the merge cube. So I'm going to jump over here to one of their sample lessons. This is something our 5th graders are actually working on just in a few days, and they're learning about the solar system. They're going to use their merge cubes, they're going to use our devices, and they're going to go on a little scavenger hunt of some sort here to learn about space. So they're using the Galactic Explorer part, which is in the Merge Explorer app. So a really cool thing. These lessons are already made. You don't even need to recreate them. So there's a lot of possibilities. And then if you head over to the Merge EDU site, you can start a free trial so you can use the Merge Explorer app with your students and be able to access all of the different aids and resources and see all of the possibilities that you can do with it. Now you'll see the headsets, that is the virtual reality part, but the great thing is they have this little pocket on the front. You can take it off and put the headset on and still view it in AR. That way you don't have to hold the device. You just put it in your goggles there, or the phone, or whatever it is, and then you can look around without having to try to manipulate holding a device and the cube. So pricing is there too, but definitely try out the free trial. You are definitely going to love it. It is worth it, and definitely see what that looks like. So here's some more samples. These are our kids all the way from K up to 12th grade have used these for multiple projects, and I'm going to show you how merge cubes can be used for other creation type things that high school students had done, and so it has multiple uses when you get going with them. All right, so that was a quick explore. I always like the create part because that is so much more meaningful, I feel like, when kids are creating the content. So the kids are going to create some content, so we're going to take a look at some ways to start. And here's the one I'm talking about. So co-spaces. With co-spaces, you can create content that can be viewed on the merge cube. So really cool thing to be able to do. You'll notice over here on the right, I'm demonstrating one of the already pre-created quiz activities in co-spaces, and kids can maneuver around. You'll notice the 3 buttons down here at the bottom. They can view it in virtual reality. And then the middle button that looks like a kind of an invisible cube, that is what augmented reality will look like. And it allows you to place it, here as you can see I'm gonna do that, place it in your environment, and then from there you can manipulate and move around and get closer to things. So how do you get started with co-spaces? Well, there's already some created lesson plans, so a bunch of them, tons of resources, project ideas, getting started, training, all of those things are there for educators. So I can see that's broken down into many different topics, and I love this because it just gives you an idea of where you can start. Now, co-spaces, I believe, could totally be used with elementary kids and beyond. So you probably want to start with 2nd grade or higher, just for these things, and maybe some basics for the younger kids, but definitely it's really cool to be able to do. So here's one that is already created. Again, I want to show you what it looks like. So students can view co-spaces activities on their Chromebooks. They just aren't going to have that augmented reality feel. So this is one from one of my favorite authors, Mary Howard. She makes a ton of great resources, and you can see she has a free companion sheet here. But when you click play, you can see that students can manipulate and move around. So these are the types of things that they actually create. So they create 360 environments with multiple scenes. So you can see this has scenes. There's music playing, little background music. When I want to move, I'm just going to walk forward, and I'm using my arrow keys. So I'm going around, and we got to find what the directions are, of course. But this is just a view. Let me go to the next scene so you can kind of see a little bit more. So this is all about the Middle Ages. And then from there, students, when they create, we had our students, I'm going to jump over here to our sample. We had our high school students do a couple projects with the merge cube. So over here, oh, you'll notice that it's making noise now. I'm going to turn that off. Over here, they were doing a holiday project where they did a virtual snow globe, which was from Mary Howard's idea. And from there, they had to do a poetry project. They had little or no background at all with co-spaces, and we just said, here's the directions, get started. So they're creating in co-spaces their environment on the cube, and then from there they could code things, they can add their voice, And this is where they got a little bit more advanced later in the year. They were doing different stories. So they were doing To Kill a Mockingbird, and from there they had to recreate the scene, and some kids made it look different. So this one you can see they kind of put walls up to put their information. This one did everything strictly on the cube. And then after they were done creating, they viewed with the devices so that way they could actually manipulate their creation together as a class. So it was such a great experience for the kids. They learned so much. They worked together when kids didn't know how to code something, which they had no experience with. They helped each other out, and it was a really great thing to see them exploring. All right, one of my next favorite ones to create, and very user-friendly. This one you definitely could have little kids do. Assembler is the name of the creation. You can see over here that I took the Assembler app. You have some kind of marker or QR code type thing that you are looking at, and from there, when you scan it, you can add video content, images, you can create text, all kinds of great things. And the nice thing about Assembler is they also have already created things. So I've downloaded for our kindergarten students when they were doing planets and solar system or learning about the ocean. They had some really great materials that were very inexpensive. So I would print these out, and then the students would scan the images. We would just lay them out and scan the images with the Assembler app, and then they could actually see the jellyfish come off of the page. They could really feel around and see if they could actually touch the jellyfish, and it was such a great experience for them to be able to try out. Now with Assembler, if I go back to here, I'm going to show you a little bit what that looks like. I put a sample marker in here, so if you download the Assembler app, you're able to check out and see an example that I've created. But if you want students to create, you have two options. So there is Assembler Studio, which you can download to any desktop or laptop. Not a Chromebook, because it is a program that needs to be installed. So from there, this is exactly what you would see if you were creating on a device. So with the Assembler app on a device, mobile device, tablet, again, students will see the same type of thing. So here you can see I have the option to add 3D objects. I can bring in my own 3D objects. So if I've created something in Tinkercad or another 3D creation activity, I could do that. I can bring in images, videos, and text. And so this one was just a really simple one I was doing to promote the Hour of Code last year. So just something that you could see that adding in images, and then the hardest thing I think for the students is manipulating in this 360 world. And same thing with co-spaces. This is just how this is too. You have to learn how to manipulate the objects to move them up and down, side to side, and so on. So once I've created it, in order to get that marker, you're going to see over here after I've finished it, I can download that marker, print it out, and then I can experience that in augmented reality. So there's so many different possibilities with Assembler. I'm thinking all sorts of projects, and we did something like this with our 4th grade students when they were learning about landforms. And they each created a augmented type activity where they were demonstrating videos of the landform, images. You could actually put in some text in there. So it's like a virtual poster board that no one sees. It's all hidden on that little marker there. So it's such a really cool thing to be able to do. And I'm going to exit out of that so that way you can see the next part here. All right, taking a look at our next creation app, which is called Metaverse. So Metaverse allows students to do a multitude of things. They can create choose your own adventure stories, they can create digital breakouts, they can create like mini quizzes or assessments, and so much more. So over here on the left, you'll see using my Reflector Teacher again, I recorded a sample of Metaverse, which you're placing in your environment. So that was in my kitchen, of course, and you're able to, kids can actually zoom in and look at it. They can answer questions. This one was a poll about what they should learn next week in Earth Science. So a lot of great features that they can do. So they take the Metaverse app, they scan a QR code, and then here you can see that there's actually some sound with this one. And it's going to load up eventually. It took a little bit of time to do it. It was actually loading up an immersive 360 video of being in the ocean. So it's really cool that you can embed 360 video content, 360 images, text, all kinds of things into that. So to get started, you'll go over to studio.gometa.io, and I have those linked again. And I've just brought up a sample of a choose your own adventure activity. This is something we did with our high school students, and what was awesome to see is, again, they had no background. We had them watch some of the tutorials along the way, we talked about it, we worked through problems together and problem solved, and it was such a great experience. What was awesome is they added their own voice into some of it. They became the character and changed their voice, and they added music and sound, which you can see. But as you can see, it gets quite complicated, especially when you're doing a choose your own adventure. If I zoom out here, you can see this one was pretty linear. Sometimes students will have a whole bunch of different things. But with this, you can see that the students start with a main frame, right? And then you can do all these different things here. Change the button, have a timer, and then you have to tell exactly what are they going to do. So you are going to lead it. So you'll see there's a little path that says, if you pick this one, this is what it's going to go to. If you answer this, it's going to go to the next scene, and so on. So you'll notice that they have to, of course, link these other ones. It's not complete yet, because if you answer ignore him and pass on, then of course you would have to give another scene of what they would go to. So as you go through, you're just continuing to add new things here. And so here's all the different scenes that I was telling you about. So you could do a camera scene where the person has to do a selfie or some kind of evidence. You can do text input. They can have a web view, of course. They can do virtual portal. So that was that 360 video kind of thing, 360 photos. And students can take their own 360 video and photos using something like a Ryko Theta or even the Street View camera app on their phone, which is really cool. And there's so much more down here that is in there. Polls, probabilities, leaderboards. I mean, you could really create an awesome experience or gamified activity using Metaverse. So lots of fun had there. Check it out, of course. The best thing to do when I first dove into Metaverse was I looked at it and I was like, what is this? Is play around. So here are these high school students, and if you click on this one, it will actually take you out to our language arts teacher's site where she was playing one of the students' activities. And from there, you'll see that the student had put sound in, and you can hear all that if you click on that one. But here's a sample too. So I always like to include a sample. So if you download the Metaverse app, you're going to go ahead and scan that, and it's going to take you to a sample of just what is augmented reality. So you can actually see what it looks like. All right, now this one is a super easy one. All students could do this one, K to 12 and beyond. Flipgrid, augmented reality. So you might not know that. Wait, what? They have augmented reality? I've used Flipgrid before, but didn't know that. So what you do is you can take any of your students' videos in the grid, any short video that you create, and when you go to share that and click share, so I'm going to jump over so I can show you one here. So here's one of my short videos for Hour of Code Week. So if I go to this video, okay, and I just was doing a sample here. If I click share, I'll get this QR code. So if I click the QR code, you'll notice that it says Flipgrid AR. So Flipgrid AR, and then I can print that out. I could put it on a project. I could put it on the inside of a book. I could put it on a placemat, on a birthday card. I mean, the possibilities are endless. And I'm going to share with you a whole multitude of ideas from someone else that they've put together, which is fabulous that I came across. Definitely so many ways that you can use this. You can also take not just your shorts, but like I had mentioned, you could take any of your videos that you already have with your students. So here, if I go into one of my grids or topics that I've done with my kiddos, if I go into this one and I pull up a video here, what I'm going to do is go to share for that student's video, and I can click that, and then I have that student's video that when someone scans it with the Flipgrid app, again, you have to have the app to do that, it's going to bring that video right up on top of it. So it's such a cool thing to be able to do, and you saw here I was doing that, and that actually is my son in his class. They were creating some things, but you can place videos anywhere. I've had teachers say to me that they were going to use the Flipgrid AR QR codes for centers. So they're going to put the QR code at a center so kids know what the directions are there, so they don't have to keep coming over and asking them. So such awesome things. If you click here to get some ideas, you're going to be taken to this Wakelet from Kathy Krasnowski. She's fabulous. Follow her, and she has a whole Wakelet collection of ways and ideas that you can utilize Flipgrid AR with your students. So shout out to her. Really awesome things to be able to locate and do with your kids. So check it out. If you want to again try, here's some other samples. So if you take your Flipgrid app and scan these, you're going to find a bunch of different examples of how we've used it to introduce our teachers in our district, how you could use it for students to respond to activities, and so much more. All right, now this one has been around a long time.
Blipper and Blip Builder.
And I'm going to pause it just for a second so you can hear what I'm saying as well. What Blipper is, it's been around for a while. There's some already created blips here that you can click on for volcanoes, for solar system, for plants, butterflies, all kinds of great things. But the best part is that you can create your own. So this was an example I put together for our middle school students to create on Mesopotamia. So I'm going to go ahead and
hit play. Got my trigger image. I'm going to scan it.
So with the Blipper app, I'm scanning already the image I had put together, and I'll show you the background.
Good afternoon. I'm going to share with you all about
Mesopotamia. So you can see that you can embed a video directly into the Blip. So again, hidden content, kind of like Assembler was. I've added music in there. I can make the objects move and animate.
I've created my title. I've added images to it.
And you can see I didn't print out that image, but I totally could, and that's kind of what our 4th graders did before. They printed the image out and scanned it.
This is an example of how you can record audio to share.
So you're able to interact and click on things. You can embed videos and so much more. So let me click over to Blip Builder here. So you sign up for a free account. And then from there, you're going to notice that here is one of my first scenes. So this is the first main scene you saw. So I need some kind of image to be the background. That's what is going to trigger that to start showing up there. And then I've added in here sound. So you can see I've added in some music. I've added a button to go to the next scene, which I created. And I've animated this so I can do animation as well. Now, the different things you can add are elements, which are shapes, and then you have these widgets. So here's all the things you can add. PDFs. You can add things from audio, selfies, scenes, SoundCloud, Spotify, Twitter, websites. I mean, so much. So here I'm going to jump over to the next scene. And this was just a real simple example of how you would embed then the YouTube video in there to show more information about it. And then I could even create another page if I want to, again. And here's where I was starting to do culture because they had to do each step of what they were looking at. So awesome thing. Now, when you're ready to share it or to preview it, you're going to hit preview. And then once you hit preview, it's going to show up your trigger image, but you're going to see that it has a test code. So I'm going to leave a test code. So how you would make this work for your kids is you would print the trigger image and then they would need to write the test code on there. Because when you utilize your device, you're going to go ahead and you're going to put in that test code, and then the kids can point it at that image, and then all that content's going to come to life. So it's a really cool thing to be able to use, great for teachers to use for kind of hidden activities, breakouts, just to get the kids excited about what you're learning about. So awesome thing to try out. So here are some of the already created blips that I was telling you about that you could click on. And then once again, here's how you would need to enter that test code. So you might say, well, I scan it with the blipper and it's not loading up. You need to make sure that test code is in before you can move on. All right, iJack. This is another great creation thing to use. So iJack does require you to install it on a desktop or laptop device. It will not work on a Chromebook. So just be aware that the app is just to scan it. So you do have to be able to create something on a desktop or laptop of some sort. So once again, this is a very easy thing to be able to do. And you can see I took my iJack app, I scanned the document with that QR code on it, and you can see I have music, I have a GIF or GIF playing. So really cool things you can do with that. So what does that look like? So here I am with iJack open. I'm going to move this down a little bit so you can see it. I'm going to say create a new artwork. And these, it's easy, 1, 2, 3 steps. anyone could do this. Your little kids could do this too. So you pick a file, right? So I'm just gonna pick, let's pick anything here. I have no idea what I have. So let's pick this Bitmoji picture I have. Do you want to build a snowman? Okay. So from there, I hit next, and then you can upload a video, a GIF, or a PNG sequence. So it's really nice that you can drop multiple files there that are going to play, but just note this, your animation has to be there, and you do have a time limit. So if you have too much, it will tell you. And then once you've done that, you'll hit preview, and then you'll see something like this happen. So if I come over here, I get this QR code. So it looks something like this. So I took this document right here. So I said, take your iJack app and make sure you get my whole flyer in here, okay? And then from there, it's gonna see that QR code and it's gonna load up all the hidden content that's behind there. So you'll notice all of these are very same. They're either trigger-based, location-based, augmented reality experiences. And then one that I really wanted to point out from @FugelFun, she has a ton of awesome ways that you can incorporate art as well as just bringing books to life. So you'll see here, she has animation going on, and then when the kids scan the book cover, they're going to see all of these different things pop up. So she's got a lot of great ideas for Dr. Seuss. Great time coming up. March is coming up for his birthday, so you might want to check those out and have your students try it. All right, so now we're going to take a look at some elementary focused augmented reality. So if you are a pre-K to 5 teacher or a media specialist or an administrator or whatever it may be, or you just want to take this back and share with some people in your district, please do so. But some of these things could also be used with older kids. I'll tell you what, anything that gets them engaged and excited is so meaningful. So this one particularly, I believe middle school kids probably would really like as well. So we have Quiver and Quiver masks. They're two separate apps. And with it, you're gonna see I've linked the coloring pages and the coloring masks. The Quiver app EDU version does cost a little bit, and you do get more content with it, but you can definitely start with the free version on there as well. I'm gonna turn my volume down. So that was Quiver. You saw I colored, the students will color in one of the sheets, then they'll scan it. So here's a perfect one for middle school because they do learn about cells there. They would color all these in, so of course they wouldn't be white. And this one actually has a quiz built into it. So they have to be able to locate the different parts of the cell and interact with it. And you can see it spinning, they're answering questions as they go throughout it. And then one of my other favorites, I'm gonna skip forward here to Quiver Mask, is students can once again color the mask. We've done this with our preschoolers before. There's some pig masks in there, so they do the story of the 3 little pigs. And here it is. And from there, they can record themselves. And that's what I love about this app is you can either snap a picture or students can record themselves retelling the story that you want to. So talk about putting kids in the character of a story and having a lot of fun interacting with it. Such a great experience. Yep, and here they are. So there's our preschoolers, and they're actually doing this activity again next week. So they color it in, and then they're putting the mask on their face, and it looks exactly like how they colored it. Here is one of the ones for the jack-o'-lantern. There's 2. There's the mask of the jack-o'-lantern as well as making the sheet there. The jack-o'-lantern can come to life there. And there's so many other awesome things where kids can create and bring it to life right on their desk. All right, the next one, which is a newer one that some of you may not have heard of, and I've had the nice thing to be able to meet this lady that has been creating this and updating this along the way, is Narrator Ar. So this is perfect for younger students, definitely pre-K, K, and 1, where students are just learning how to write, learning how to trace, doing mini stories, word families. So what you'll do with this, there's templates here and printable samples, and I left the Christmas ones in here, is they trace over the words. So of course they're practicing their handwriting, and then from there they take their app, so they're going to take their tablet or their phone or whatever it is, and they're going to hold it above that. So it has to scan this little marker in the bottom corner there. And then once they do that, they can pick either the rocket or the unicorn, and they have an updated creature now that they have that you can trace. And they'll actually show them how to write it in the sky. And the kids just love it. It's a good reinforcement to see how to form letters and numbers correctly. They can take their stories that they write and do so many things with that. So here's the Narrator Ar site that they have, and you can buy some of their activities off there in their bundles to get started. They have ones where you can have your students' names, which is really cool. But they also have a lot of sample lesson plans, so you can print them off and try them with your kids before you buy some of them. So such great things out there from the creators of Narrator Ar. And then here's some closer up examples. So let me zoom in a little bit here so you can see this. So on here, here's a number tracing one. So they're going to trace the one. They're going to color one, they're going to make one, they can see the domino that's one, and they can even circle the one on a clock. So you're tying in so many different math concepts with this. And then what they'll do, it says animate your number in AR. So take your camera, your app, whatever it is you're using, and then bring it to life by picking what creature you want to show it. So such an awesome thing for those kids to be able to do. And then here's some samples of some of our students utilizing this. So here's some of the kindergarten students as a center. The teacher laminated the cards and they just are using dry erase markers, which is really cool. So after they're done, they clear off their cards and they go to the next center. So such a great way to practice. Here's another great one for elementary. How many of us have kids that are reluctant writers and not really interested in writing? This one is definitely going to be for you then. And this could be for middle school again and high school kids. We have reluctant writers everywhere. So how do we change that? Well, try dramatic AR. So you need first this magic paper. So to get the magic paper, it looks just like this. Okay. So when it tells you here, draw below, down here, you're going to write what you want the word to say or your sentences to say. So they've now added some lines in it, which I love. And then from there, you're going to take the app, and I'm going to come back here so you can see it in action. And as it reads, it aloud to you, so you can hit play. So not only are the kids practicing writing, they're hearing it be read back to them. And then as it's playing, here I'll go, scan it again. It's going to look for certain words that it recognizes in its library of animations and creatures that it can bring up. So you can see I had the skeleton in there, so the skeleton came to life, the elephant popped up on my page,
the giant dancing elephant,
the queen that's there,
the sleeping queen was in the
and it definitely reads out loud to you, so that way the kids can check it out. So a really awesome thing to be able to use. The other thing that is involved in this is you have word worksheets. You can do sentence builders online here. So if you want to see what words will come to life, there's a lot of word lists here. So if I were to write golden retriever or dog, I would see those pop up. I could drag those over here so that way I can add them to my word list to create my sentence from, and so many other things. There's flashcards, all kinds of great things on their site for you to choose from. The other one that I wanted to share, because that's coming up around the corner, is their Valentine's one. So if you write turn my words into candy hearts on there, it's going to turn the words into candy hearts, so that way each of them have like a little candy heart on it. So that's a fun one just to be able to do for Valentine's Day coming up. So again, some examples of what it looks like. You'll need that magic paper, you'll need an app, and you'll need a tablet or a device. All right, taking a look at my next favorite, Wonderscope. So Wonderscope is a fabulous one to use with elementary students, and it is an interactive reading experience. So they're actually reading along with the story, telling it what to do, and then they actually have to move around and do different things and find objects. And there's a bunch of different stories in here. You can see I'm scrolling through a lot of them, and they're constantly adding. Now they do cost a little bit, so of course be aware of that as you get ready. So here I am placing the story in my environment. It's going to load it up. It's going to start. The characters are going to pop up on the screen. I'm going to fast forward just a little bit.
One of the world's most death-defying, dangerous.
So they start talking to you.
I'm getting drunk going.
And then as they talk,
around to play.
it's going to ask you to look for different things. So I have to move around and I need to put the plane together. And then as I get farther into the story, there'll be words that pop up that you or the students will read. And as they read it, they highlight in purple and then something will happen and the characters are going to respond back. Such an awesome thing to do. So here's our students. I don't have a picture of it, but our students in our media center use this. They plugged headphones into it, and then they picked their own story, and they just had a blast. They were moving all around the library, looking at things, talking. You would think they're talking to themselves, but they're actually interacting with the story itself. So what a great way to instill a love for reading, as well as being a part of that story. All right, another fabulous one to check out is Clever Books. So if you're a STEM teacher or you're teaching geometry, geography, or anything space related or STEM related, the app is such an awesome thing to be able to do. Now there's different apps. There's one for geography, geometry, and space. So here you can see the geometry one. So students can manipulate the objects and see the nets of the different geometric shapes, the edges, the vertices, all those great things. But here's the part I was telling about you earlier. So many places are starting to do what's called web-based augmented reality. So when we talk about web-based augmented reality, I'm picking one of their apps actually, but I'm on my computer. So students can do this on a Chromebook. And what's great about their space that they just started back in January, or actually a little bit ago, came out here in January, is it allows students to connect and collaborate virtually from all over the world. So I'm going to see if it's going to load up or not, but give it a moment. Just gives a second to load. Probably have too many things loading on my computer, but I'll pop back here. That's why I have some pictures of it. So you'll be able to see things like this. So I was loading the space one. This is the geography one. So I actually have purchased the map too. And if you go back here a slide and want to purchase something, just let me know, and I have a certain code. And if you are interested in purchasing the world map or any of their materials, please just reach out via email and I'm more than happy to help. Also, they have their demo samples here on that link, so you can go ahead and try the geography one and print out a page so you can actually just see what it looks like at first. But what an awesome way to be able to interact with content. And here's some of our students with that map that I have being able to interact with content. They can also test their knowledge about the animals and the countries and the flags and so many other possibilities to really get them thinking. Here's the solar system one, great, it's the space one. And then Clever Books has a wide variety of other materials. And I have this one in here, the augmented reality at school. Please, if you're looking for ways to get started with augmented reality, this is a great resource. I was fortunate to be one of the authors in this book as well. So you'll see a section in there from me as well as many other fantastic educators. Definitely click on that, get started. It's such a great way to get going with augmented reality and other ideas. All right. That was a lot of different things. Once again, reminder, a lot of different things, but pick one that you think you could try with your students. Hopefully there was one new thing that you've learned from this. And then I've included a couple other resources. I love giving teachers resources. So if you click on the Wakelet down here, it's going to take you to my kind of resource hub where I've taken many different augmented reality resources and put it into one place. And many of these now are, again, web-based. So something like ARIs is web-based. There's our Lupa Studio, which is web-based, My Web AR, and then a lot of other different apps that are out there that go along with certain subject areas such as history, science, STEM, and so much more. And then when you click here, definitely there's more AR apps to check out and more even from there. So here's our book again. And then if you are looking to re-watch some other videos, you can check out the Collaboration in K-12 Classroom Summit, where there was a lot of different augmented reality projects and ideas there. And then last but not least, one of the presentations I had done for FETC, I've linked here, and it really broke it down into all the different things that are there. So when we talk about explore, the few I shared with you today, there's way more than that. So please feel free to check that out. Creating other apps and even a fun little breakout game that you could have your students try with these. So let me know if you have any questions, of course. Please don't hesitate to reach out. email me, you can connect with me on Twitter, and then please feel free to leave me feedback about this session of anything that you learned, or any questions you have or things that you think I could do to make this better. But thanks again for joining me today. Thanks for taking time out of your busy day, and please don't hesitate to reach out. Stay safe and stay healthy, everyone, and have a great day.